Here we go. Hello, welcome to the recording of Ocean Buddies in Watercolor with me, Chris. And we are on a live Zoom today for this recording. So let's go over the supplies that we need. And I'll go slow, so if you need to run off and grab something, you can do that. Or if you're watching the recording, you could just hit pause and go grab something. So we do need some watercolor paper. I've got a 9 by 12 size in my watercolor sketchbook here. You can have any size paper, any brand, whatever you like. It could be in a sketchbook like this, or it could be a loose piece of paper too. If you don't have watercolor paper, mixed media paper might do. But don't just use regular drawing paper or computer paper, let's say, that won't hold enough water in it to have a successful painting. So we've got paper. We have some paints visible over here. I've got a couple of sets with me. I'll show you what I have. This little set here, I'm a messy kind of painter. This set is by Mei Liang. I got it on Amazon. Just nice bright colors. A nice student set. And then I've got this little set here. These are called paint stones, and they just come right out like that by Beam Paint. So I'm going to use a bit of both today. All right, we will need a pencil and an eraser, any kind of pencil, any kind of eraser. I'm going to use a mechanical pencil because it has a nice thin, light lead, and any kind of eraser. We'll do a sketch first. After we do our pencil sketch, we're going to use a black pen, or if you had like a very thin Sharpie. So these are called Pigma Micron pens, a very popular brand. Different sizes here. I've even got one little Stettler permanent little pen. And then over here I have another option, Le Pen technical drawing pens in different sizes. These are all great to use because they are waterproof. Waterproof pen is what we need today. Let's say you don't have a waterproof pen with you. You could do your pencil first, then your paint, and then use just a regular black pen that's not waterproof after the paint is dry as an option. Okay. Over here I've got my jar of water or cup of water for my watercolors. I've got, you can see a little bit of paper towels sitting right here to dry my brush. I've got a bunch of brushes handy here. Here we have, I've got like kind of a small, a medium, and a little bit bigger. I might just end up using 1 or 2 brushes in this particular painting. As long as you have like one brush that has a bit of a pointy tip, you could do this whole painting with just like one paintbrush. So if I could really do this whole painting with just this kind of biggish one. It has a pointy tip, so it allows me to get in smaller little areas. But you don't need fancy paintbrushes at all. Dollar store paintbrushes would be fine. What else do I have here? These are optional supplies. So I've got masking tape. If you wanted to have a border of white around your painting, you could put some masking tape or painter's tape around the edge and press it lightly. Here's an example of a piece of paper that I've done with tape around the edge to make a nice white border, if that's your thing. And I said that's optional. I'm going to be demonstrating this painting, which has kind of a, I would say it's an organic edge, kind of a messy edge. It's kind of wiggly around the edges. Or as another option, you can paint your painting right to the edge of your paper. The colors could go all the way to the edge, maximize the space. So those are 3 different options, either tape or messy or have paint all the way to the edge. Different options there. Okay. What else do I have that's optional? An optional supply. I've got some white acrylic paint, and that's what I use to add little white. See these little white, there's some dots here. There's some dots here. There's little white lines here and there, just as fun little highlights or shiny parts of the animals. And that's optional. You don't need to add that, but if you have some of that handy, you can add that later. And you might be wondering why we wouldn't use, say, the white here or the white right here. It's because white watercolor is very see-through, but white acrylic is thick and it will go on top of these colors easily. So that's an optional supply. And then here's another optional supply, my little salt shaker. Sometimes in watercolor, if you want to have like kind of a crinkly, frosty texture, you could sprinkle a little bit of salt. And I do mean a little bit, and I'll show you how to do that. We're not going to just dump salt on it. We're going to do it carefully. So that's another optional supply. And then one more thing that I have, a couple things I have nearby. I have a tissue box just in case I have a little accident, little tissue box nearby. And then I have this little palette. It's plastic. You could have a porcelain palette. You could have a plate. You could have an old Tupperware lid. Just something that you could do a little bit of extra mixing in. So let's say I'm talking about use a bluey green paint, and you have blue and you have green. So on this palette, you can mix together blue and green together to make a bluey green kind of thing. Or let's say I'm talking about orangey red, and you have red, you have orange. You can make a little orangey red in your palette here, or a plate, or just any area. Ooh, the lid. See, I like to use my lid a lot. You can see the messy lid there. So that's all the supplies. If you need to run and grab something really quick, go ahead. We are going to start with our pencil drawing. So grab your pencil and your eraser, any kind of pencil, any eraser. So we're gonna sketch our animals here. Remember, you can do any animal. Think turtle, think shark, seahorse, you know, any of your favorite sea animals you can substitute anywhere. I just did a little sketch of the animals in marker, just so they're easier to see as we're sketching with our pencil. Okay, so that's kind of what we're going for. We're going to break it down into shapes so it's a little easier. So I'll start at the top with my dolphin, and I want a nice big arching shape for I guess his back right here, right here. There's a glare. So you can kind of see the pencil there. How can we get out of the glare? I'll just press darkly. So that's the back arch of the dolphin. Give him a nice pointy fin, sort of like a shark fin, but it's a dolphin fin. Let's see if I can't get this glare out of here. Where would I put that? Oh, maybe like that. I think that's a little better. Let's glare that way. And he needs, I'm going to add just a round face, and I'll add the snout later. So a round face like that. And then we're going to curve another line for like the underside of his belly. And as we get closer and closer to his tail end, we just need to make that get skinnier and skinnier to meet up over here. Just get skinnier and skinnier. So the bulk of his body is thicker, and then skinnier, skinnier, skinnier. And then any kind of tail you want to add. So this tail sort of reminds me of the shape of a leaf, two leaf shapes, or it could be more of a triangle shaped tail or rounded tail, like literally any kind of tail you want to make. A fancy mermaid-like tail would be okay. Anything at all. There we go. We do want to add a little, what would you call that? His lips, his mouth, his little snouty area. So like kind of like a beak almost. but rounded little lips. And this is pencil, so we can have messy lines, we can have sketchy lines, we can erase, we can adjust. His little beaky lips. Cute. So from that, I guess that separator line, we're gonna make a shape that goes all the way back. This is like his belly area, all the way back, all the way back, and then it kind of just joins somewhere along here. So it gets kind of thicker, then thinner, 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 thinner. That's his underbelly. His or her. This could be a lovely girl dolphin too. We want to add a nice little fin, and it's kind of below where that top fin is. You know, imagine where your shoulder, your arm connects to your body. It could be big, it could be small, it could be curvy, it could be straight, pointy, round. It's just cutting right through, right over that line. Could be further forward, further back. Everyone's dolphin is going to be different. That's cute. All right, I'm going to erase some little lines that I don't need. So I don't need the little line from here to here. We can erase that little line. So it seems like he has a fin attached to his body. It's one piece. Erase that little bit there. Same with here. We don't really need these lines cutting through the fin. Let's erase that just so it's tidier. There we go. Fix that up a little bit. You can erase anything at any time, adjust things. Pardon me. Let me just tidy up his face a little bit. He's got sketchy lines. That's looking a little more tidy. We can add a little eye. So I've got his eye is kind of like a half closed little semicircle. Any kind of eye. Do you want a big open eye? Maybe a fully closed eye? Maybe he's having a little snooze. I would say it's like a half a circle with like a line above it as like the eyelid. Or any eye style you want. Give them a little cute eyebrow. I don't think dolphins have eyebrows the same way we have eyebrows, but they might have like a brow muscle. So they could kind of, you know, raise their eyebrows if they were having a good time. And I just gave him like a little curvy smile. So we can kind of curve this line. It doesn't have to be straight. It could be curvy and then a little, like he had a cheek. They might have cheeks. And I can just kind of tidy that up. Erase, adjust, anything you need to do. Ooh, that glare. Ooh, don't like that glare. Something like that. And if you're looking at your dolphin and you're thinking, oh, he's kind of chunky, I could erase, adjust, anything. Do you want to curve his back more or less? Do you want to adjust this fin? Is it too small? This fin, is it too big? Erase, adjust as needed. And that's all we need to sketch for him. Of course, if you felt like you wanted to add something else special to your dolphin, what if your dolphin had a hat on, or he had a necklace on, or he has a pattern or spots? You can do that because this is your painting, your drawing in your world. You can do that. All right, so if you're still just finishing up little bits of the dolphin, keep working on them. And then we could work on our whale, very similar to the dolphin. We'll do our whale together. We'll break it down into shapes. Easy peasy. So yeah, our dolphin is going to the left. So our whale is going to go to the right. So it kind of has a nice flow. It kind of flows this way, the painting. Same with the jellyfish later. It kind of has a flow in a circle right here. I guess if you wanted to reverse your whale and he was facing this way, you can definitely do that. All right, so similar to the dolphin, we're going to do a big curve. This time the big curve is his belly. A big old curve. Take up a lot of the room down here with a big, deep curve. It's sort of like a half a circle, and it doesn't have to be perfectly smooth. Mine's kind of lumpy here. Use up a lot of the room. A big old curve. Big one. This part of his head is quite thick, and then it gets really thin as it goes to his back and his tail. Really thick, thins out. So to start, we'll just have the tip of it be just like a rounded tip. Rounded, big, chunky head. And then at a certain point, you just have to kind of come in further. And then we're working our way towards the tail, working our way, getting thinner and thinner. So here's a big chunky head. We'll add details in a moment. Big chunky head, getting thinner here for his back, and then thinner, tail. Taking up a lot of the room. Similar to the dolphin, you can have any style of tail. So again, these kind of look like the shape of a leaf, but you can have a more triangle shaped tail, rounded, maybe a big fancy frilly mermaid-like tail, anything at all. Any angle too. It doesn't have to be the same angle that mine is. Look at that, nice and big, taking up a lot of the room. Erase and adjust as needed. Okay, again, we want to have kind of a separation of belly to upper body. So starting at the very point, the very tip where his lips separate, I'm going to come down, and I'm kind of staying in the middle of this thick part here, going down the middle, coming down, down, still pretty much staying in the middle. Keep on going, keep going, and then at a certain point, you just kind of attach to the bottom here, and it ends there, anywhere along there. Right down the middle-ish. It could be more curvy than my line. It could be more straight. And anywhere over here is where it just kind of stops. So I'll make his lips a little bit more like rounded little lips. Make them a little bit lippy, a little round. He needs some longer fins. They're quite long and thin on a big whale. This was kind of shortish. These are kind of long and kind of streaming back. You could have just one, or you can have both if you feel like it. So anywhere along kind of this area where your shoulder might be, where your arm might come out of, Just gonna have a streaky, it's a little curvy, it's kind of thin. Something like that. Could be longer, could be curvier, thicker, anything at all. I am going to erase the little lines that we don't need. So I don't need this little line, and I don't need this line cutting through it. Nice big fin. And I'm going to sneak a little extra little fin. That's the fin on the other side of his body. But if you don't want to include that, you don't have to. You could just say his other fin is out of sight on the other side of his body. Something like that. Doesn't have to be the same shape. It could be a similar shape and size, but it does not have to be the same. Are your two arms exactly the same as each other? Probably not. Okay, I want to make his head a little bit lumpy. Some lumps and bumps. You could have more lumps and more bumps, or just a couple. Any lumps and bumps, and you can erase, you can adjust. Just make it a little lumpy, because they have lumpy heads. A little bit lumpy. And they have a teeny little, they don't really have a dorsal fin like a dolphin does. Sometimes they have just like a little small triangular something, like a tiny little mountain, a tiny mountain on their back. And we could erase. A little bump. And sometimes closer to their tail is another teeny tiny little bump. There must be some kind of bones or something sticking out there, like we have hip bones and knee bones that kind of jut out of our knobbly legs. They just have these little bumpies. And let's give them an eye and a smile. So their eyes are quite small compared to their bodies. I'm going to give them an eye right here. So again, kind of like a half circle with a bit of an eyelid line on top. He could be more wide-eyed, like a full circle instead of a half circle. He could have a closed eye. And I gave him a tiny eyebrow too. And let's give him a bit of a smile. So kind of extending from this line. Anywhere really. Erase, adjust. Little hint of a smile. So like this is his whole lip action. Long lips. Just dribbled water all over the place. Look at that. That's why I have the tissues as backup. All right. Yeah, let's look at jellyfish. And yeah, if you're looking at your whale right now and you're thinking, oh, I could thicken the tail a little or thin them down or anything at all. And the jellyfish are super easy. If you want to do jellyfish here, you could do a cute little clownfish, little Nemo, or little seahorse. Any kind of jellyfish shape. So I don't know, it kind of reminds me of the shape of a mushroom cap. Something like that. And then I'll do another one over here. This one could be more rounded. If you want to kind of show the underside, the inside of the jellyfish. I've got this kind of circle here, not a circle, like a loop. So that kind of shows inside the jellyfish. This one's more of a, like the profile. We're just looking at the jellyfish from the side, not from the underside. Two different options. So like a little enclosed space, that's the underside versus that one. And then I'll draw a few lines with my pencil, but we don't need to draw all the lines right now. We're going to do that with our pen, just to get kind of the flow. Just a couple lines. We're going to do all this over again in pen next. So we'll do many, many more stingers, tendrils with our pen. There we go. That's it for the pencil portion. So we can put the pencil aside. Again, if you want to add anything else extra, maybe your whale has some seaweed as a beautiful necklace or something. Maybe your whale has a bow on his tail. Maybe they're going to a fancy party. All right, some kind of a black pen. It could even be like a dark blue pen, any size, any brand. It does need to be waterproof. So let's say maybe you don't know if your pen is waterproof. So grab a pen. Here's how we're going to test. Start just outlining something. Just outline a little bit of something. Get a brush with some water. Brush with water and just, put a little water on the pen. Does it move around? Does it smear? I'm good. Let's say you discover that the pen you have today is not waterproof. It's going to smear around. So I would just stop with the pen, do the paint next, and then use your pen later to add some fun lines. Any size pen. What size pen will I want? I'm going to go with maybe this one. Let's look at the pen work. It is messy, it's scribbly, it's not perfect. Sometimes my pen lines are wild, and like, look at this one. There's just like a rogue pen line. Look at this extra pen line here. Look at this messy outline here. And everything's kind of outlined multiple times. So there's lots of messy pen lines going on. See that? All here, all around here. Messy, 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 extra lines. It's just fun. All right, so literally outline things, but look how wild and wiggly and crazy I went here. That's allowed, that's okay. It gives it texture. Some water here, we don't want water here. So literally outlining everything in pencil, but with the pen. Couple times over. A little bit messy. Yeah, look right here. I didn't even follow my pencil line. I just went, whoop, that's where it went. Right here, look at that. Not even close to my pencil line. That's okay. Delia, I'm using a 0.03, but I might not even stick with that. I might grab a second size, just because, just for a little variety. Maybe the whale is 0.03, maybe I do the jellyfish 0.05, whatever I feel like. But good question, yeah. There are different sizes. There we go, messy, whaley outline. When I do the eyes, I will do the eye like just a little bit tidier. So I've outlined my eye just a little bit tidier than the messy outlines here. Even the eyebrow, little bit tidy. And I do give him like a little pupil with a little highlight. So first I make a circle of where I want my white dot to be. I can just leave that white. And then I color in some of it to be the black pupil. Or you can color the whole thing in black. He's got kind of a mischievous grin on his face. He kind of looks like he's up to something. Little trickster whale. Okay, I'm going to outline my dolphin too. If you're having trouble with this kind of scribbly, messy effect, because you're used to drawing carefully and precisely, I like to hold my pen like further back. If you hold it back here and you try to outline something, it kind of naturally goes messy because you have less control. If you're having trouble kind of loosening up with this kind of messy style, because if you do want to do precise work, you hold your pen really close and do really fine, precise detail. But messy stuff, I like to hold it further back. Dolphin, give him a little eye here. Again, I'll just kind of outline the eye, give him a little white highlight. So I just leave a little white circle and then color in the rest or part of it, give him kind of a pupil look, put a little eyebrow. You can give him a mustache if you want, give him freckles if you feel like it. Put on some dolphin sunglasses if you feel like it. But I don't know where the ear pieces of a sunglasses would go on a dolphin. Where are their ears? I'm sure they have some kind of little hole or something where their ears might be. Never looked at a dolphin that closely. Yeah, look at how very, very messy and wiggly I got over here. This one went crazy. And that's okay. That is a-okay. I'm going to outline my jellyfish. There we go. So there's my two jellyfish. I guess that's their like head, or is that their body? Not sure. Jellyfish sometimes have like this very intense curly material down the middles, like a jumble of tentacles, like a little, like you know how you sometimes draw a tornado in a doodle? We're going to do that. We're going to make a tentacle tornado down the middle of my jellyfish here. Messy scribbles. And you can kind of curve and flow, and then it just kind of fades away. Intense, 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 less intense, and then just fades away. Over here too, we'll do scribble, scribble, scribble. Have it bend and move and flow. Scribble, scribble, scribble. Scribble on top of scribbles, and just lightly fades away. That's kind of like the main core of the tentacles, and then we want just a lot of lovely flowy lines all around that. Different lengths, different curls. Overlapping each other, definitely overlapping. the amount that you feel is the perfect amount. You could have less or more than mine. Everyone's are going to turn out differently, and that's perfect. That doesn't mean it's wrong. That's just all of your individual styles and personalities coming through in your art. And even my two paintings, drawings, won't turn out the same. They will be completely different, and you'll see. You will see. So there's the basics. We're going to add a little bit more pen here, little bits, namely the whale belly. I do want some stripies on the whale belly. And go with the flow of the belly. Stripies going this way, stripies going this way. They don't have to be evenly spaced. They could be thick, thin, broken lines, doesn't have to be all attached. So my lines here, they don't go all the way to his lip, but you can have yours go all the way to his lip if you feel like it. Stripy whale belly. My whale also has lots of little dots, maybe they're freckles, maybe they're little warties, just lots of little shapes. Could be an oval shape, could be a squarish shape, could be a triangle-y shape. Here's a couple. Along his, I guess that'd be like his upper lip, forehead area, along his back, some on his tail. Just gives him like a nice texture. And every whale will have different bumps and markings on him. Ooh, maybe some on the fins down here, these long fins. A couple of those. Big ones, small ones. Even just like if you just dot your pen, just dot, 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 dot. You can do some of those too. Dot, 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 dot. Freckles. Could be freckles. Little dots. Little lumps and bumps. Just gives him a little something extra. Okay, and then literally I just added like random pen lines anywhere I wanted. And it kind of gives you a sense that they're swimming, that they're moving. So like along his back here, there's an extra line here. By his fin, here's an extra line. Even like on the fin, there's an extra line. Maybe on the tail, maybe under the tail. Under this, I guess his chin. This would be his chin area. By his fin, some extra lines. Just kind of, to me, it seems like they're in water, they're moving, there's like water rippling, even by the jellies, you know, some extra lines by their body, the water, even just kind of in the water itself. What if I just want some movement? You can't go wrong here. There's no wrong way to add some of these fun extra lines. Where else? Where else? Ooh, we can add a little, if your jellyfish wants to have a little spotties on the jellies, or little dots like this, freckle it up. Or something different. Yeah, this one's dotty. This one's more blobby. Anything you want to do. There we go. That's our drawing. So we've yeah, we've spent about half of our time with the drawing, and then we'll spend the next half of our time with the paint. And it's kind of like we're filling in a coloring page at this point. We've made our own coloring page, and we're going to fill it in, and we're going to get messy. We're going to have fun with this. We're going to let colors blend together and bleed into each other and flow where they want to flow. It doesn't have to be precise. It's fun. All right, we'll give you another minute if you're finishing up your drawing. All these fun lines, just random. Add some more dotties if you want to add more. Maybe your dolphin, maybe he has some patches. Dolphins could have different colored patches on them. Ooh, you could do this painting again with some orcas, some killer whales, beautiful black and white whales. That would be a beautiful composition for another time. Okay, let's see here. Let's get a little more light. Oh, that's pretty good. Okay, so I do have my salt nearby as an optional supply if you do want to add a little salt in your paint. It gives kind of a speckly, frosty, you can see it here. It's very subtle, and it might not be the thing for you, and you don't have to add it if you don't want to. I'm going to use this brush. It's a little bit bigger. It's got a bit of a pointy tip, but any size brush that you have. Maybe if your painting is smaller, you might want to use a smaller brush. Maybe you're making a very big painting and you want to use a bigger brush. Go for it. Use any brush at any time. Okay. So let's say I'm talking about purples and blues on the dolphin, but you want to do pinks and oranges. Go ahead, use any color, literally anywhere in this whole painting. I'm going to use, let's say, some blues and greens in the water, but you want your water to be, maybe it's nighttime, blues and blacks, nice deep ocean picture as an idea. So I've got my paintbrush here. I've got it wet, dip it in the water, and then I like to kind of like tap it so it's not like sopping wet, dripping wet, because that could cause problems. So if you're dipping in the water, just tap it a little, wipe it a little. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to just paint water on the dolphin. And after the water, then we'll add color to the water. So this technique is wet in wet. So I'm just going to take this water. I'm going to go around his eye so we don't get water in his eye. And just like a thin sheen of water, not sopping wet, just a thin bit of water, just getting it damp. I'm trying to stay in my lines, but it's definitely okay if you go out of your lines. And I am putting the water on the belly. I am putting the water on the fins. And you can't really see what's happening, but if you put your head on an angle and just kind of look at how shiny, you kind of see the glare of the light shining in the water, then you can kind of tell where you're at. But you should kind of have a feeling, a sense of where you've already put water and where you still have to put water. Okay, so there's a light. You kind of see it shining. Oh yeah, there you go. There's a shininess. Okay, water. Get my brush wet again. I'm gonna start with a purple, but that's my choice. So I'm rubbing my purple with my wet brush. Rub it, rub. And then I might take that to the lid area, or I might take it to my little palette area. Here's a little purple area. There's some of that purple paint on my brush, but I can add even more water to it. Oops, a little drip happened. That's okay. So this is the consistency we want. It's not thick, it's like juice. We're painting with juice. We're not painting with, say, acrylics, which is more of like painting with toothpaste. See how wet this is. And I could just dab this purple into the wet water. Dab, 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 wherever you want. Here, down here, over here, anywhere. Here. Some purple. And yours might be darker than mine, might be lighter than mine. That's okay. You could even get some, you know, darker areas, lighter areas going. Any color. And then when you're happy with the amount of purple you have there, give your brush a rinse, wash it around, squiggle it around in the water. I like to tap it. And then what's next? Blue or pink or whatever you feel like. I'm going to go with some blue. Taking this blue, I rub. Sometimes I bring it over to the lid area, then add some more water. And then you could dab it. You could dab it next to the purple. You could dab it on the purple. The purple and blue are going to touch each other and mix together and flow in different areas. Like anything, anywhere. There's some blue. Maybe I want to do a darker blue. Rinse your brush, tap it. Bit of darker blue. No, that's not darker. This, maybe this one. Ooh, black would be cool here. Green. Here's a nice, kind of like a navy. Sometimes I like to just get water on my brush. There's no paint here. And I just like to dab extra water to help some of the colors blend together. So maybe your first coat of water is drying up a little bit. Just get a little more water. And if I dab that around on top, next to, then the colors will start to blend together more. New colors are forming too when the colors mix. And gaps are okay. If you end up having a couple of gaps where there's no paint, that's all right. I'm going to keep adding purple. And only you will be able to decide when it's perfect, when it's how it should be. Maybe you're already there. Maybe you're already fully filled up and you like how the colors are blending. Dark areas, light areas, you kind of want a mix of all different tones. Some nice tones there. Now, I will show you, if you do have salt, if you do want to involve some salt, what we're going to do. I'm going to put a little bit, like a little bit in my hands, like a tiny. Look at those little grains. A little bit, or you could put a little bit in like a tiny little bowl. I'm going to just pinch a little bit of salt and then lightly sprinkle it on the wet paint. So this will only work when it's wet. So maybe if some areas are dry already, that's okay. You'll have some areas that are speckly, some that are not. Little bits, tiny bits. Just grab a couple grains, couple little grains. Sometimes there might be like a kind of like an intense little puddle happening. So I'll add a few little grains in there. And you don't have to do this part. You can just do your watercolors and let it dry as it is. Okay, so let's have a little closer look. You can see individual grains. That's the amount I'm going for. I'm not going for absolutely coated. That'd be too much. So as it dries, some of that salt will dissolve into the paint and disappear. Some of it will kind of suck the paint towards it and make a cool frosted effect. Yeah, and it's okay to have really dark patches and really light patches anywhere in your painting. You know, purples, blues, got a little bit of a bluey gray thing going. Even now, if you did want to add like a teeny tiny little bit of more paint, you can still do that. Dabs. That's kind of cute. All right. We're gonna let that dry. You just have to, at some point, you have to say, that's enough. Stop playing around with it. Let it dry, and things will happen as it dries. Shapes might appear. We call them cauliflowers or blooms. As it dries unevenly, that's part of the beauty of watercolor. It does what it wants to do. We're going to do the whale very similar to the dolphin, except this time I'm going to have less color in like the belly region, this part here, this part here. So when I'm doing my first coat of water, I'm just going to stick to this area and then his little fins. So I'm not going to do the belly yet. All right, so don't put any water on the belly, stripy belly yet. I've got just water here. Now my water is tinged a little bit because we've been washing our brush in the water. So now it's kind of easier to see where we've already put our water because it's slightly colored. If that bothers you, you can go get some fresh, clean water, but I don't mind it. It's such a light color that even if I need to do, say, yellow in the whale, it'll still be okay. And again, I'm going around his eye. I'm not going to get paint in his eye. Okay, I'll do his little fins, those long little fins. Fin, but again, not the belly yet. Okay, there's his thin coat of water. Now, what colors do you want your whale to be? I'm going to do blues and greens, but any colors at all, yellow and orange whale, go for it. He will look like sunshine. Green and blue is what I was thinking. So I'm going to do this lovely, it's like a leafy green color. Again, I'm going to dab and blob anywhere I want. Blob, dab. It's going to move around. It's going to flow wherever it wants to flow. There's some green. Some kind of blue. This lovely sky blue. Dab. It could be dabbed on the green. It could be dabbed next to the green. But I'm not getting any in the belly yet. Dab. White gaps are allowed. Dark patches, light patches. Trying not to get in his eye. There's blues, there's greens. Let's get a little, I've got kind of like an emerald color. Let's get some of that in there. Dab. And I definitely have gone outside of my lines accidentally, and it's not a problem. Dab, dab, dab. Sometimes I just grab some water. Just grab plain water, dab around some water. It's going to make interesting shapes as it dries. There we go. And it's just fun to do. See what happens. There we go. So I will add a little bit of salt myself. You don't have to. A little bit in my hand. Pinch, just a little bit. Here and there, anywhere. Yep, so this is starting to dry. You can kind of start to see some of that frosted thing going on. Sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes it does. So it depends on the amount of salt, the paint itself. Sometimes the weather affects it. Maybe it's too humid, maybe it's too dry. Yeah, sometimes I'll put salt and it just doesn't want to do cool things. It just sits there. That's okay. I still have some beautiful colors. Okay, that seems like a good amount. Just show you up close here. Yeah, that's about the level of salt that I do. But you can do experiments with less or more salt. Okay, so we're not going to do the belly quite yet. I want this to dry a tiny bit, because if we start doing the belly now, a lot of this whale color will just flow right onto the belly. So we'll let it dry a few minutes, but we can work on our jellies, our little jellyfish. So I have, this one seems to be kind of reddish pinkish jellyfish. This one's like a reddish orangish yellowish. Any colors, anywhere, just one color, literally anything you want to do. So this time we're not going to do the same steps we did here. I'm not going to do the coat of water first. I'm just going to paint the little caps, the colors that I want, and I'll add the flowy tentacles. So I'm going to do reddish orange. I've got some right here. It's like a vermilion color. If you just have red and orange, just mix two together, make a reddish orange, or any color you want to do. Just paint this little jellyfish cap. Little jelly cap there. And then I'm going to do kind of a, so this is darkish orange, then into a lightish orange, into a yellow. Add some medium orange, and it's okay if some of the dark orange flows into here. It's kind of what we want. Medium-ish orange, then rinse that out. Rinse that out, get a little yellow going. Get some yellow, and some of that orange will flow into the yellow. And you can make up your own new tentacles. You don't have to exactly follow the lines you already made. So the majority of this section is filled with color. There are a little bit of gaps in here of white, and that's okay. Or any colors at all, literally any colors. So for this one, maybe I'll go more of a pinky base. Maybe I'll add purple or magenta, any colors you want to do. There's some pink, a lovely pink. Maybe you don't have pink, but you could do like a light red. Pink, I'll do some pink tentacles. And I'm still using the same brush that I've been using this whole time, but I'm able to do smaller tentacles because I can use this like the tippy tip of this one. But you can easily switch to a smaller, thinner brush to have some thinner lines. So there's some pink. Let me rinse that off. Maybe a little orange, maybe a little purple, whatever you feel like. Let's get some of this going. I've got some kind of like a magenta. I can dab some magenta into my pink, make it kind of splotchy, and then have some magenta tentacles, crisscrossing, overlapping. It's all good. And there could be white gaps in here. Doesn't have to be solid. Maybe I'll put some orange in here. I think orange would be lovely. Ooh, yeah, adds a lovely brightness to it. Nice. Starting to get a little more vibrant. And just you wait till we add that background. It's going to get real vibrant. Okay, so let's look here. So the whale here does not have to be fully dry. Just starting to get a little dry. Getting there. I will paint my water on my belly. Just water. And let's say you're getting close to an area and you can tell that it's still very, very, very wet. You could just kind of avoid it. Just go around it, leave a little gap. Get that water in here. A bit more water down here. Avoiding any really wet areas. Don't want them to touch. There's my water. So just water on the belly portions. And then we're going to add a little dark blue or a little dark purple, whatever kind of the main color you had going on here in the upper portion. A little bit under like the bottom, the very bottom of his belly. I'm going to get some blue. A little bit of blue. Blue on my brush. So just at the very bottom, and it is going to flow where it wants to flow. And along here. Blue or green or purple. Right along the bottom, and it's flowing upwards. That's okay. We want that to happen. It's giving us kind of like a shaded look. I'll just go a little bit more, just to really darken the bottom. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, this will dry and make its own cool shapes. If you did want to put in like a little hint, like a hint of some of the other colors you have here, you can do that. So if I wanted to put like a little tiny tiny bit of green. I could just get a very light amount of green, dab it in some of this water. Just a tiny, tiny bit, just to kind of tie it all together, but it's still very light, very white. I want to keep it that way. I'm going to let it be, let it dry. Good, yeah. Yeah, some frosty things are happening here. There's still some wet patches. Most of it's dry. These guys are pretty dry. Got some darker puddles. So sometimes I like to kind of help my puddles dry faster. I get a tissue or a bit of paper towel. Just get a little, like the little corner of it. Make a little pointy corner. And just for the really deep puddles that are taking a long time to dry, I'll just soak up a tiny bit of it. So here's kind of a dark puddle. Soak it up a tiny bit. Here's a dark puddle. It'll help it dry a little faster, a little more even. Okay, here's a little dark puddle here. Where else? Here's a little one here. Just a little bit is soaking up, just to help out a tiny bit. But overall, it's doing pretty good. Yeah. Okay, fun blobs are gonna happen next, guys. Fun blobby time. So in my background, whew, look at all the colors. We got magenta, we got blue, we got green, we got like a lighter green into a yellow, into light sky blue, into a dark blue. Here's some gray. Any colors, like anywhere, literally. Maybe I was mentioning earlier, you want to do more of a nighttime thing. Darker colors, black even. Maybe it's sunset in the ocean and the sunny colors are going through the water and you want to do like lovely oranges, yellows, pinks. Would be cool. Or you could literally just do blues. Do light blue, medium blue, dark blue for like a sense of depth. Green, throw some aqua colors in there. Literally anything, anywhere. And it's going to be blobby. It's going to be messy. Sometimes a little bit of your background color might get onto your sea creatures. That's okay. Sometimes if we're blobbing colors near a wet sea creature and some of their color goes into the watercolor, that's okay. Any colors anywhere. So I've got my bigger brush, it's wet. I'm going to start with some lovely green. Why not? A lovely green shade. Blob it. Blob it where you want to blob it. So I'm going to do some green over here. I literally just blob it around wherever I want. And then I could grab some just water on my brush. Now there's just water there. Blob around some water. It's okay to leave white gaps. I've got white gaps all over in my painting. White gap, white gap. Sometimes my paint isn't even right next to my animal. Look at this big white gap. It's not even touching. That's okay. Here's some green. I'm going to grab another color. Let's go this lovely emerald color. Blob some of that. So it could be on the green I just did. It could be next to the green I just added. Some of my green got on my dolphin. I'm not worried. That's okay. Blah, blah, blah. So sometimes I'm blobbing paint. Sometimes I'll just get some water. Dab some water. Okay, what else? Get some blue. It's the ocean after all. I want some blue. Dark blue, light blue. Any kind of blue. I'm going around my jellyfish. I'm going around my dolphin. Could be applied very dark like this or light. And then sometimes just got water on my brush. Dab around some water. spread it out. I like the contrast of the blue next to the yellows and orange. I think that looks fabulous together. Think about those things. So what would look good next to this purpley dolphin? I'm thinking orange. Orange would look fabulous next to a purpley dolphin. Grab some orange, grab some water, dab it around. Maybe grab a little yellow. Grab a little yellow, dab some of that into the orange. You can go all the way to the edge of your paper, or I have like a little white gap with a messy, messy edge. What else? Let's get a little bit lighter blue, sure. Bluey green. Like a mint color would look nice. Purple, nice purple in the water. I don't want anyone to use the exact same colors as me. I want you to choose different colors in different places because this is your painting. Let's go, I could go, let's see this lovely orange. Yellow. Yeah, yellow next to like blues and greens looks good. If you wanted to add salt to any of these wet patches, you can. I'm not going to, I'm going to kind of have just my salt on the animals. But if you really liked the effect it made, definitely add some salt wherever you want. It's like they're swimming in a rainbow. Colors are blending, colors are moving where they want to go. What else? This one. My son Caleb has been painting along next to me, and you guys didn't even know. And his is looking amazing. So when he's done painting his right over here, I'll show you what he's been up to this whole time. Let's get some more blue. I think I want more blue in this ocean. Ooh, and purple. Oh, I don't have any purple yet. What am I doing? Gotta get some purple. Oh, beautiful, beautiful purple. Some water, just dabbing around some water. Where else? You get some water. You get some water. Where else? And it's going to dry lighter than it looks now. So don't worry if yours, maybe it's too dark. It'll dry a little lighter and it'll be perfect. Oh, that is just fun. Fun, fun, fun. We're not quite done yet. If you thought that was fun, you're going to love the splashes and drips. I'll give you another couple minutes to finish your background. It is a big area. and I paint a little fast, so maybe you need a few more minutes filling in that whole background. And you can always go over areas later on. So let's say when this dries, some areas seem too light to you. You could throw another layer of color on there and darken it up. Even the pen work. So like this pen seems darker than this pen. I could get some more pen going afterwards, darken some areas, enhance it with more pen. Or some markers. What if you want to get some beautiful markers and add designs, patterns, bubbles, other fishes with some beautiful markers, or pastels, or pencil crayons. You could add anything. Stickers. Do you have some ocean stickers you want to add to enhance your composition? Would look amazing. Glitter. What if you have some glitter paint or glitter pens and you want to glitter it up? That will look awesome. Awesome, awesome. As you guys are filling in your background still, if you're still needing some more time, let me show you some upcoming events with me. If you've been enjoying working with watercolors, maybe it's your first time, or maybe you've been enjoying my style of art or my style of hosting. I've got some cute stuff coming up. I'll just show you two. So this one's coming up for free August 4th. It's called Vivid Cactus. So we're going to use some of the same techniques we've learned today. Letting colors blend into each other, blobby background, splashes, using black pen, using white. So Vivid Cactus is coming up for free on YouTube Live, August 4th. And if you can't make it to the live event, the video will be up forever for you to do whenever you want. So join me for that, free. And then this one's coming up also in August. This one is a paid event, and it'll be right here on Zoom, similar to this. So this one's called Cosmic Coyote. What would be the differences between a wolf and a coyote? So coyotes have pointy ears. Wolves have a more rounded ear. And then a coyote has kind of a longer, thinner snout, and wolves would have a thicker snout, just kind of more meatier down here, bigger snout. So this is a coyote, and we're going to do this one August 18th, right here on Zoom. So if you'd like to attend that one, tickets are on our website. Cosmic Coyote, lots of fun coming up in August. All right, so if you are still working on your background, keep going. I'm going to demonstrate if you do want to add a little bit of white. So little white dots here, little white dots there, some white gestural kind of lines as highlights or as like the shininess of the whale. Any kind of white acrylic, white ink, even a whiteout pen would work here. I'm going to get a little thinner brush. Let's go with, oh, this one's nice and thin. I'm just going to use a little bit of white that's in the lid here. So just, you know, fun strokes of white, literally anywhere. I mean, it does have to be dry. So if yours is still a little wet, maybe hold off a little bit. Little streaks, little strokes, anywhere you want. It just gives just like a little extra little white here and there. my jellyfish, maybe I'll do some little dotties. Little dots. Maybe I can do like the edge of the jellyfish has a bit of a shine to it. Yeah, my whale, all these little dots and blobs, and are these warts? We can add more little dots and blobs and warts, or we could fill in the ones we already drew, or a little of both, whatever you feel like. Big ones, small ones. Just be mindful of any wet areas. I'm trying to avoid my wet areas just for, oh, even these little, those little bumps we made, we could kind of highlight the bumps. Could be a bit of a highlight along his forehead, nose. Could highlight along his little finnies. Little dots and dabs. Anywhere. Little smile. Lines on his fins, highlights. Yeah, it just kind of enhances it a little bit to have some white. I'm happy with that. I'll do like a little bit more. But it's subtle. It's subtle. You don't have to have it. Just optional. Okay, so those were optional little white highlights. And then the fun part. The fun part's next. If you thought you were having fun before. All right, I'm going to add splashes and drips, but I want to move away anything that I don't want covered in paint. So I'm even going to move this away because I don't want more splashes and drips on that. It has just the right amount. Move away your books, your phone, your... Okay, so I'm going to use my brush that is a little bit bigger. If you have a bigger or medium brush, something that can hold a lot of paint in it, a lot of painty water. What color would you like to start with? I'm going to start with blue splashes and drips because I just think that would be nice. Get lots of painty water in your brush bristles. So this is fully loaded with some blue in there. So there's a couple ways to do splashes and drips. So we'll start with some little teeny tiny ones. So with my finger extended like that, I'm going to gently hit my paintbrush on my finger. Hit, hit, and little speckles come off. See those little tiny ones? Anywhere you want. Little speckles. They're very fine, little tiny ones. And you can kind of aim where you want them to land, but they're going to kind of go everywhere. They're on the table. They're everywhere. This will come up with some, like a wet, damp paper towel or rag. So right after you're done painting, you should wipe your little splashy, crazy drips. Okay, so the second way of doing some splashes and drips, I'm going to choose green. I think green would be nice. Let's get some green. Lots of green in my brush. Lots of green in there. I'm going to kind of hurl my brush towards the painting and then stop short, like I'm flicking a magic wand. Flick, 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 flick. So these are going to be a little bit bigger. Flick. Sometimes they have weird shapes and lines. Flick. Try different angles. Try straight up and down. Flick, flick. Try from right side, left side, top down, bottom up. So they're a little bit more vigorous. They're kind of going everywhere, uncontrollable, and just kind of bigger on the whole. You could do different colors. I'm going to do some lovely purple. Let's get some purple. Well, that was a big one. Yeah, dark, light. Those are great. It's just fun to do. Okay, and then I'll show you one more way to add drips. If you want like big fat drops, big ones. It might not be for everyone, so maybe watch me do them first. And then if you like the look of it, then you can try it yourself. But the biggest ones sometimes aren't everyone's cup of tea. What color? Maybe a gorgeous orange. And a lovely orange here. So again, load your brush with a lot of painty water in it. Okay, got some lovely orange. I'm going to go way up high, up, 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 beyond my camera. I'm going to probably stand up. I'm going to stand up. And what I'm going to do, you won't be able to see, I'm going to squeeze my bristles with my fingers. I'm going to get a little messy. And then a big fat drop will come sailing down and land where it wants to land. You can kind of aim way up here. I'm going to squeeze. Whoa. That wasn't really where I was aiming, but we'll do it again. Squeeze. That completely missed the page. There we go. I was going for this upper corner and my hands get a little messy. I just flick it on my page, flick it off, and then you wipe your hand. So that's only if you want really big splats. I'm going to do a couple more. These kind of get kind of overpowering if you do too many of the super big ones. There's one, another one. My hand is messy, flick it off. I'll do a little bit more. A bit more. Maybe I'll go over here. Oop, oop. Oh, missed the page again. There we go. And then just clean up a little bit. But definitely wipe up your table before it stains. I'll give it a good wipe afterwards. There it is, super cute. I'm going to sign it. You can sign it in paint or in pen. Sign it with my initials. You could do your whole name. You could put your age, anything you want, your signature, a cute symbol that represents you. All right, let's bring this one back in. Yeah, these two are different from each other, and that's okay. I would love to see your versions. We can share them in the video now, or you could email us, you could message us pictures of your paintings. We would love to see those. So I am going to stop the recording now, and I want to say thank you so much for joining us for the Kids Week Camp.